Hey there, it's Chris, and welcome back to the next part of the mid-modeling phase of the Yoshitaka Mono mobile platform project. Where, as you can see, last time we went ahead and we got this thing hardened. If we were to compare this clay project to the other ones I've done, I'm about maybe 8 to 9 hours ahead of where we were with the other projects at this point. So we're doing pretty good. We did have one, thank goodness it worked out phase where after I finished hardening it, I didn't immediately put this down into the wood to make sure nothing had actually moved. But thankfully the holes still line up nice and perfectly, so yay that. And also when we came to pull this thing apart, because I know I mentioned the downsides of having clay that's too thick, but because the clay was too thin, or so thin on this one, it did have a little bit of breakage on the sides, but I went and I glued those things together, and we're going to be adding a lot of clay to the outside to re-strengthen that, so not concerned about that at all. So a couple main focuses on today, as I want to repack this back out so he's not this little kind of wobbly dude in here, kind of re-get it so we can take him out and off and have that nice and set, and then from there start actually making that cloak that comes down and kind of at least get that roughed out at this point. And we'll probably start actually detailing that out and making it actually look good next time. But if we can get those two things done this time, that puts us in a really, really good shape for the future. So thankfully I have these guys lying here, and I'm just kind of looking. We already have a piece that can kind of wrap around there. It's kind of what we want on the side. So let's just go ahead and glue that on. Now I do need to glue these things on because unfortunately fresh clay does not stick to really anything but itself particularly well. I'm just kind of getting an idea of how high I want to go with the glue. So we're going to be gluing these things on as we go, just so it will actually stick. So let's get you back in there. Put you back on. Now I could just go and wedge this thing in. It's really kind of cram it, and eventually it will just kind of go. But if I have the option to glue this on, I might as well actually glue it on. Let's get the cap back on here. Might be good. And let's get some of the excess off right now, because the only goal of this one is just get a base layer. Because once we have a base layer kind of glued onto this, everything else will now stick to that and it'll be fine. So the idea is just get that base layer on first, and then we'll go ahead and figure that out. Okay, and the good thing is this seam we have in here will be 100% covered by the cloak in the end. So again, on that front, not particularly concerned. Oh, sometimes English is hard. And I can even show, yes, for this part that is actually a big solid piece. Plus I've had some of the glue came out here and is sticking to my fingers as I do this. So let's just kind of cover him as much as we can right now, because I do not particularly want the glue to be sticking to my fingers the entire day. Also, from here on out, I think I've done the final show and tell on this. Next time the Band-Aid comes off, it means it's just going to stay off at that point. It means the hand is pretty well finished. So I just figured it had the one more nice kind of big change that happened, but no, I think that's it. Next time it comes off, that means the finger is good, or at least close enough to good that I'm feeling happy about taking that off. Don't need to hide it anymore. It's not this like big secret that I need to keep from you. It looks like, from a distance, it looks like it's 100% real nail. It's just when you kind of zoom in, you can see that it's not, but we are dang close. That said, finally finished the main project I've been working on for months and months and months now, which was converting a house into a duplex. It was like making another kitchen, doing extra bathrooms, doing extra bedrooms. It all started a year ago with the basement that had flooded, and then kind of snowballed into project after project after project, but that one is now finally done. We're actually ready to move on to other things in my real life. Different projects. I'm going to start a deck today, except it downpoured the entire day. So I have a lot of free time. So that's why I'm kind of here doing this. But it was sweet. The owner actually had a party at the house the other day. Had like kind of a breaking it in kind of for all kind of friends and whatnot came over. And as a result, I guess at least one of them was super impressed. Like, oh man, all the colors and stuff we have in here are so good, and all the lines and stuff in your painting is all so impressed. Man, you have a really good painter in here. And so, which I know you're probably rolling your eyes considering how the painting job on the modeling side went, but in my real life, painting's pretty dang good. So, as soon as the party ended, she went and got me a little kind of going away gift, being at the project ending. So it's sweet. She went and actually got me a bottle of champagne, which is about as big a gift as I've ever gotten from one of these things, which is super sweet and all, except I don't drink, so I feel really bad. I think I know where I can go and that can get some use out of it, but it's like one of those, I thank you for it, but of course she had wrapped it up so I couldn't tell what it was until I got home. It's one of those, it's really sweet, but at the same time it's like, it's slightly awkward, but I think I know what to do with that. Places that will actually get some use out of it. But no, that was a fun project. That was a really, really fun one. I'm glad everyone is happy with everything in the end. But time to move on. Okay, he's getting a little stiffer. Of course, I can say this now because I'm just adding clay to them. Adding clay back on here that was previously taken off. I'm not doing any other woohoo stuff. And I'm not really sure I need to add an extra bump. I probably could add a little. I probably need to add actually a little bump into that to kind of keep it all together. But realistically, once the cloak goes on here, that cloak, that's going to be coming down around here. It's going to wrap around the whole thing. That's going to keep this thing from moving around once that's in. So I'm not super concerned with this. And we're not even 8 minutes in, and we're already kind of completing the first phase of what I wanted to get done, which is just kind of get this back into a halfway decent position. Okay, now if you will notice, between sessions I did go and his arm is bent here and his arm is bent here. That's generally speaking where the hands are going to be. I just wanted to get that because, like I said, I want to be able to at least base out the arm here a little bit. Then I can add the hand onto that later. So if I want to base that out, I'm not going to bring it all the way up. I like kind of having the hand part way, so I'm just going to bring this part way up. But at least then I can start to get the clay working on the arms now, because now there's no reason not to have clay on the arms. This phase should be pretty much everything except the head. And the head will be its own separate one after we get... I'll probably have, so I have this one, I'll probably be detailing this stuff out next time, then the time after that might be working on the face and head stuff. So in terms of the clay modeling side of things, we're going to be pretty quick on this whole portion. The entire project altogether, not so much. We're getting close to, I think, episode 40 at this point, so... In terms of the entire project, yeah, it has been a thing, but this clay portion is going to be fast, super fast. Okay, if I have glue and clay on one side, we're going to do glue and clay on the other side. Boop, 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 boop. My legs are very not happy with me today. I'll be honest on that one. Because as I said in the last part, that I went and I did it was amounted being a 6.5 mile run yesterday with 250. It was like 248, I think it was official number, before somebody went and stopped me and asked me for directions. But I figured 250 lunges after that, and my legs weren't pleased with that whole situation. They're a little sore, not gonna lie. A little hard getting out of bed this morning and functioning for like the first hour of the day until I actually started kind of walking around a bit and getting some things done and getting some blood flow in there. But that is part of the game. They're feeling good now, but that's stuff like that is always part of the game when doing fitness things. That said, I'm just about at that point where I can just kind of keep going. I feel like forever on them. Because I know if you've never been running before, you're like you're gonna go running for like a mile. That's gonna kick your butt. I think for the first couple times you do it, your body's not gonna know what's going on. It's gonna hate you. It's gonna be yelling at you. Then all of a sudden, if you jump out to like 2 miles, it's like, oh my god, that's so much further. Then you get to like 3. It's like, okay, if you can do 2, you can. 3 is still harder, but you're starting to get into a rhythm. And once you get to like the 4 or 5 miles, it starts getting easier and easier as you go because your body just kind of gets used to it. This is kind of the same thing. It was a little bit rough starting out. Like I said, I had 120 the first time through, and I've already now more than doubled that in just a couple weeks. But we're getting to that point where I can just kind of start going and not have to really worry too much about the body just kind of giving up on me partway through. You kind of get into a rhythm, it just kind of goes, but whew, feel it afterwards. Definitely feel it afterwards. Alright, just kind of getting a rough blocking, so at least we have something going on there. Let's see, I do want to put some more. I'm going to put some more clay right in here. Okay, I shouldn't need more than that now. Let's not stab my finger trying to get this thing in. Yeah, try putting this thing on your hands like a foot away from your face. You're like trying to get enough depth perception off of that. Good times. Okay, so what that's going to do is, you can see we have a little bit of a cavity in there. So as I kind of push this in, that will help form this into a form it needs to be. So then I'm going to go, when I go and harden this thing again, and I will harden this, even though this part is theoretically done, I will harden this thing again as a whole piece. This can then take that shape, and it will help stabilize everything and keep it all together. So yes, the cloak will be holding part of it, but the internal structure can also be holding part of this. Okay, and I can see it's slowly kind of taking the form I want it to. And that is good. Because that way when it goes in, we can just pop, bam, and we in there. We done. Right now it looks like he's just a dude chilling with a t-shirt on. We gotta change that look. He's gonna be more than just a dude with a t-shirt on. This is mid. He deserves more than that. He's one of the unsung heroes of this game. I mean, he does basically recreate the airship for you to use, which is like the only flying element in the literal world that they have. No, not true. Not true at all. Not true. There is a flying fortress you have to enter and do stuff with earlier in the game. Earlier in the game? No, basically as soon as you get one, you find another one in the world you have to do battle with, because I forget the reason. I remember certain elements of the game. I've been going through a lot of the Final Fantasy games like in the last year or so. Haven't gone back through this one yet. I've gone through 10. I went through Yeah, I did 10 last year, kind of the previous like Christmas-ish season, and went all the way through all the bonus content on the original version, so kind of stopped at the Nemesis fight, which I guess if you do international version, it goes even farther. You have the Dark Aeons, and I forget what the name of the penultimate guy is. Penance. Penance is the hardest one, so I don't have that. I had to stop at Nemesis on that one. And then over the summer, after that, went and played through Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2, at least on the PlayStation 1 versions of those, the remakes on that. Those are games. Then I went through Final Fantasy 12 after that, and kind of took down Yzmat. So that was my goal on that one, take down the ultimate big HP boss there. And I recently just went and finished up Final Fantasy 9. And taking down, my goal was take down Ozma as that super boss. Because when I was a kid playing through these games, I guess I really wasn't a kid for FF12. I forget if I was in or out of college at that point. But I never really did any of the super bosses in any of these games. So if I'm going through these, like my goals right now is just kind of do some of this content I never did before. So I'm just going through the super bosses on that. And they really kind of teach you how mechanics and stuff of the games work. It's been a good time. I think 9 was weaker than the 10 and 12, I'm going to say for sure for me. It has a lot of elements that work, and it has a lot of things that really are frustrating for a casual kind of player. I think it's great for a speed run. It's not as fun as a casual playthrough, especially if you're one of those guys who likes to collect all the stuff. It's just, they make some odd design decisions in terms of some of the optional content they do, and whether or not some of that optional content is even physically possible to do as a human. Go and do the 1,000 jump ropes in the jump rope challenge. Right. No one's gonna stand there and do that, especially when you have like a 1 or 2 frame window to hit the button on for it. It's not feasible for anybody to actually do this nonsense. but yeah, of those, that's 5 of the first 12 games I've gone through, and this wasn't one of them. I almost feel like I don't want to go through 6 again. I have so much nostalgia for 6, 'cause that's one I really kind of grew up with. That was like in my prime years of going through that. It's in a happy place in my memories that I really don't have a desire to go through that one again. This one I didn't play until I was in college, so I don't really have the same kind of nostalgia hook on 5 as I did on the others. But it also doesn't really have the optional content that I had missed or didn't do early on. So I guess it does have the Omega fight that I never actually completed before. But that's about it on that one. And I just don't really have a desire to go through this one like I did the others. Although that said, I'm not sure which ones I would do next. 7, I've never gone through, at least the original 7. Remakes are nice, I don't feel like going through the remakes. But I never actually did the weapons fights in FF7, so that would be ultimate bosses I've never done. That would be Ruby and Emerald. Never did those. I forget if I did or didn't do the Omega fight in, I think it's Omega or Ultimate Weapon, or Ultimate Weapon. I forget what it is in FF8. I forget if I've done that one or not. But that would always be an option on that front. And in terms of side content, the Xenosaga games, I've never done the ultimate stuff on either. I don't think Xenosaga 1 has ultimate stuff, but 2 and 3 definitely do. And I'm pretty sure I haven't done either of those. And I think I'd rather do the Xenosaga ones in the future rather than the other Final Fantasies at this point. Cause just because I've done a lot of the Final Fantasy ones, I think it would be time to move on and do a different one at this point. Which for me kind of serves just that kind of, I like having something to do, like that half hour to hour before going to bed, and just kind of turn the brain off and just kind of mash buttons for a little bit. That's really the niche these games kind of fill for me, in that regard. So, okay, so all I'm doing on this right now is we're going to start working on the cloak on the back. So I want to make sure I have a big old piece of this going on. I want to make sure we're only 20 minutes in. Okay, that's awesome. And let's see, let's just clean up the edge on this real quick. Get that kind of nice. We can clean up this edge really quick. Now, which way do I need this thing to go? That kind of looks like it would work. It's coming in. Let's get you a little more in camera here. Now, it's making a very weird crease just doing that on the bottom, which we see we do not necessarily. Actually, that kind of matches what the image is. Whoop, let's take this off. Okay, now if you've ever watched me do these kind of folds on the other projects where I've had kind of big things to do like the cloak and whatnot, I am notoriously bad at getting this right kind of on the first go, and it takes some trying before this feels right. So bear with on that front. It will look correct in the end, but it's going to take some time to get there. Okay, so I don't want you folding out like that. We want you kind of coming down. I don't need anything to look good up here. I just need it to I just basically need this seam as it comes in here to where it hits and goes down to be nice. Anything up above here, we're going to be blending into the upper body. So I don't care how any of this upper part is. I just need this down here to look good. And there we go. Now we're starting to kind of get to where I want to be. That's coming down. That's coming down. Kind of going around. Bring that in and around, just kind of smooth out the edge here. Whoop. Because it feels like, again, this feels very, I really don't want hard edges on any of this. It feels like it wants to be a little softer as it comes in. So I'm just kind of going with that. And we want this to, it really does want to kind of poke out a little bit more. Okay, now comes the problem. Trying to hook this thing together before everything is kind of where it wants to be. Okay, that's not bad. I want kind of some simplicity going on here. I don't want crazy folds. Usually if you do something like this, simplicity kind of tends to be your friend in terms of these kind of folds and what works and what doesn't. So you want a little bit of kind of folding in there to kind of show that yes, this is a fabric piece, but we don't necessarily want to go nuts on it. We want, although you seem to kind of come in and then come out. So it's almost more like that-ish. And I can see that there isn't very good. Okay, so if we have something like that, then all we need to do is just kind of blend this up and in, and then we can work on packing out or not packing out this upper part as we go. This is the beauty of using clay, is we can just take this and it can kind of hold its form there, and all we then need to do is just blend it up and in, and all of a sudden we have a full kind of cloak going. Now that said, if I want to have any kind of mini folds in here, I can always harden this and then add a couple extra folds on top of that as well. And that would also kind of work. But right now, it's just get this kind of up and in, get our rough form. Like I said, today's goal is just get the rough form in here. And that's really all we need. Or kind of all I'm mentally prepared to do. Might be the better phrasing. Okay, so from that, he definitely has a lot going on back here, so he definitely looks like he wants more going on up top. So let's add a little more up top here. And then he also has that hoodie that kind of goes in the back, which I keep forgetting. I'm looking at my image on the side. You should be looking at this one. Might help so you can see what's kind of going on. Kind of forgot I had that on the sidebar for you guys. Whoopsie doodle. Sorry about that. Okay, and actually on the other one, he doesn't really have anything in here. I might need to just I might need to have like a seam here, maybe have a couple clasps or something on this, just kind of give it a little bit of visual interest in here. But because we could have this kind of come up, and then it's going to wind up needing to go around for the top. But yeah, I could have something like that and then have some clasps or something on here. And then of course on the back, we're going to have kind of that hood comes around, except it's going to look a little better than this. He's going to have a hood that kind of comes down and in back there. So yeah, in short order, like I said, we're just kind of roughing this thing out, get a general form on here, and then we figure it up from there. And then, of course, inside this would then be his neck, and then the head comes up from there. So this might be easier to do, get a basic form on this, harden this, then I can put additional folds if I want to on top of that and kind of blend that in. Do the head, have the neck come in, harden that, and then put this hoodie on here so it kind of wraps around that neck kind of nicely. that might be the play on that front. In which case, it would be worth kind of getting the hands and stuff going in here. Where are we? Half hour in? Half hour is not much time to get kind of going on hands and stuff. And I 100% didn't plan on going into hands and whatnot for this segment. And I am kind of a little fearful of that because hands are going to be extremely tiny. And I'm not sure how well this is going to go. But otherwise, I mean, we're getting a little dude in here. He's doing what we need. But we have the time. I'm not going to stop at half hour. I want to keep this thing going. We got to get this project done. Like I said, I have an Easter deadline I want to get this thing done by. So let's keep going. So we're going to have some fingers. Let's cut off the end. I don't need to worry about that. Oh, I'm trying to pick things up with a dang band-aid on the side. Not the easiest thing. Okay. So let me see. How big? Yeah, your hand is only like yay big. So this could be interesting. I've never had to make hands this scale before. I think I might be slightly big. No, I might be just okay. I might be just okay. You can almost see what I'm doing on camera. Yeah, that just actually works out. Okay, so if you've ever seen the hands before, we take that, kind of blend it in. And now we have fingers and a very oversized palm, which is okay. Because we're gonna do stuff with this palm. And the fingers I don't need to worry super much because he's gonna be holding on to that book over there, which I do have the correct image on the side you're actually looking at, so that helps. So take that, and now we have a little more nice palm going. So let's go and try to blend this clay in as well as we can to the fingers. I was 100% not mentally prepared to be doing this right now. It's just we're going quicker than I thought. I can always kind of touch things up on there off camera, but we might as well just get going on this. Yes, I have that. We kind of blend the fingers into the palm there. All of a sudden we have a little bit of that going. And there we go. We have everything but a thumb. Thumb might be helpful. Thumb might be helpful. And of course, do that. We're high-fiving, except I'm doing the other hand. Get my rights and lefts figured out, ding dong. We want that hand. No, I don't. This actually is going to wind up being the other hand because I made the pinky on that side. So I'm starting with the wrong hand first. That's awesome. Good sign. Or at least it's not the wrong hand per se, but I didn't think I was going to be doing hands, and when I did think I was doing hands, I wound up doing the opposite one first in the first place. But that's cool. This hand we're going to see even less of because it's going to be kind of smacked up against, partly holding a book and partly right up against his cloak. So this one is definitely not getting much visual interest. So we're going to have this. You're going to come in. Thumb is going to wind up coming out just a little bit, and I literally made this hand in like 5 minutes. When I first did Rydia, my very first one that I really put effort into actually doing anatomical stuff like hands well. I'd done other ones before, but the first one I actually kind of tried on this front. This took like over an hour to do. And now it's like, oh, yeah, all right, there we are. It's done. We got a hand. It's in there. Oh, I love how things go so much faster now. Okay, so that's kind of one hand. I can go with that. Let's see if we can make the correct one this time, which is going to be, this will be good. I'll have this part then done, which means then next time when I come in, I can just go put the hands on. I can go kind of get the hands put on here and then kind of blend in the sleeves and all that to it. And I really can just then detail things out. I also need to make a couple more books. And these books are probably going to be done out of clay. The upper hand up here could be done out of wood. Bottom one's going to be probably easier to do out of clay. We'll figure it out. I'll figure that out off camera. What needs to be clay and what needs to be wood. Okay, these fingers are getting thicker. No, let's not do that right towards the blade. That just sounds like it's risk management. Risk management, don't do it. Okay, I don't want to make it too thin, so I'm not putting too much pressure on there. I think I want this way. Too much. Okay, so this, you know what? Once again, I'm starting on the incorrect finger. I'm making another right hand, which is awesome. Let's make a left hand this time. Maybe it's because I'm right-handed. I'm going to make somebody who's very right-handed. He has two right hands. Let's do it. Okay. Finger shrink. The problem is, as I'm putting it down, my own hand is blocking my visual of this. So it's not just you who can't see what's going on all the time. I can't see what I'm doing either sometimes. Okay, so we in there. And so once again, just like last time, we're going to go and smush the back here. So we kind of blend it all in. And instantly, we already look like we have something going on. And I take this. We don't need a palm that's that big. So we get rid of that. I move you down there as well. Just kind of get it out of the way. Okay, so the same as last time. I go and try to just blend the fingers in here. Get it to work. I can get a little bit on that side. This side kind of already is. This feels like it would be easier without the band-aid on here, but for the time being, it is what it is. It's like I say, it's not super necessary anymore, but I think for healing purposes, it's not going to hurt the prospects of it healing quicker if I keep this on. I just think it keeps a more consistent internal environment for the body to then use to heal from if I keep it on there. So that's really all that's there for. Okay, we're a little rough inside there, but at the same time, the palm is actually 100% covered by the book that he's holding. Oh, no. Don't bend the finger. Also, that middle finger is slightly long. I think that's the piece I just cut off. Yeah, get you out of there. Let's not have wobbly fingers. We don't want wobbly fingers. We want straight fingers. We also want a thumb. Once again, the thumb is cool. thumb would be super cool. Probably a little bigger than that. Yeah, see, all right, got the right hand this time. We're doing it. Blend this in. We're in time. We're 40 minutes in. Okay, that's not bad. Probably get this detail kind of done here, and probably going to be calling it right about there. Then I'll go kind of do some touch-ups on kind of everything around here, and then kind of do some touch-ups off camera. Then next time, come back, get this segment done. By the end of next segment here, we should be ready for hardening all of this, and then comes the face after that point. So it's basically been just a little more than a week, and we're already kind of making some huge gains on this. Before we know it, he's going to look like what he's supposed to look like. These fingers did not come out well. Okay, it's coming together now. So how is this hand kind of in here? You're holding up, you're also kind of bending the fingers up. Thumb is going to be around. Okay, should be kind of something-ish like that. Thumb needs some work, but actually everything here needs some work. Oh, trying to do it this scale of does not make things any easier. Okay, it's going to be something like that. That's going to be out here holding his book. Which, the model itself is really far from me, but the books on the side down there are much bigger than that is. So his hand actually seems kind of small for this. We'll see. Either way, we have definitely made progress. We have at least the beginnings of this. I'll figure out how I want to actually detail this thing out so it works. Like I said, next time will be the hands getting into the sleeves. We'll get this part done. Time after that should be kind of face, head, and neck. And once I have that kind of hardened N2 size, then I can come back and do some extra detailing on the sides of this. I can put down more folds in here, and then I can put the hoodie on here, or the hood, so it matches the size of the neck that he has. So we got some times coming up in the not too distant future, and it should be good because he's in the beginnings of turning into a character. I need to skinny this up. He's a little fat now down here. I definitely need to bring this in. I added a little too much clay back here. So I can already see just as a profile, I can see that this is not correct. Yeah, so little touch-ups on like profiles, stuff like that, because yeah, we want to have a little more of a waist kind of going in there. So a little bit of playing with that off camera. Like I said, that's fine there. And we'll come back, and next time we'll be making some big gains. Get these. Let me see if I can put these guys on here real quick just to kind of make it feel like we're getting somewhere. There we go. The beginnings of hands, beginning of everything. We're in there. All right, till next time. Enjoy.